Hello, and welcome to the Pricing for the Planet podcast, the podcast that explores the intersection of business and sustainability. Today, it's a special episode because we will talk about carbon saver. So, Nura, thanks for being here. You know the drill. In this podcast, we start from the end. So, what would be the key takeaways you would like the audience to remember from this episode?
Thank you first, Fabien, for inviting me and hosting me. The key takeaways would be use your competencies wisely, not doing something useless. Be sincere, usually is the best way to get to the best solution ever. And also find on your way the people who will support what you're doing. And keep hope.
Perfect. So Nura, maybe for the audience, if you don't mind, if you can, introduce yourself and explain kind of what is the journey behind Carbon Saver.
Okay. I am the founder and CEO of Carbon Saver, but the story started a very long time ago because I was in the digital industries for almost 15 years. And then I decided to go for an interior design career, which is totally different. And then when I wanted to start my practice as an interior designer, I realized that there was no real offer available online for this profession. So I decided to create my first startup. So it was an interior design startup. We started being successful with a network of 180 architects, interior designers doing the projects on our behalf. But I started to feel very uncomfortable with my profession because we were causing a lot of damage, but we were not really competent to reduce it. We were not environmental engineers, and there were no solution able to support us in what we were doing, so that we make the right decision when we choose materials or anything that relates to the project. So that's how the idea of Carbon Saver came first, because I couldn't do that work anymore, not doing something that would be more efficient in terms of impact. And I felt like, okay, I have that digital experience in the background. I know the pain points of my profession. The best thing I can do is gather these two things together and fix our profession in terms of impact and create something that really supports interior designer in their journey to achieve simply more sustainable projects. That's how it started.
Awesome. And can you explain maybe concretely how Carbon Saver is working? What are the input? What are the output?
Yeah, sure. So I would say that in the background, Carbon Saver is your environmental engineer that does all the math, all the very complex stuff, and you don't just have to make decisions because all the calculation has been done by Carbon Saver. So as a user, what you have is an interface with a scale that goes from red to green. And tells you, okay, the overall scoring of your project is 80 over 100. And inside your project, every item has its own scoring. And you know what you can improve to make your overall scoring better right away. And this is very important because it's something that you can use before you start doing your projects. Today, we have a lot of solutions that calculate what you did, but it's too late. With Carbon Saver, you start from the very beginning while you're in the design thinking phase and not after you've done all the damage.
Super interesting. And I like this approach to be very user-centric. And you're right. We spend a lot of time trying to look back and say, what was not great for the planet, but we don't spend enough time,
Of
you know, look
course,
looking forwards. And
yeah.
and one big question, and you know that because through pricing for the planet, we like to consider like the pricing and the financial impact. So did you see through Carbon Saver some impact, like are people saving money directly by selecting different products, or on the contrary, it's more expensive, but on the long term, you save water, you save electricity? So what is kind of like the
Um,
financial equation behind it?
yeah, when it comes to the building sector, you see that reuse is usually the better solution you can make, the better choice you can make. So it means that when you reuse, you don't buy very often because you reuse what you found on the field. So that's one of the first ways to save money. And then there are many ways to reuse by purchasing secondhand or
Interesting.
making choices where your material is also the finished material, which means that the finishing, I mean, you can have some insulation, but it's so beautiful that you don't have to put extra work to cover it, hide it, etc. So there are many ways to make things at least at the same price or less expensive, but what it costs is more, I would say, um, thinking time, like creative
Mm.
time. This is why we are here to help you make the environmental decisions so that you spend time being creative. That's the aim of Carbon Saver.
And I love the message because I think there is this general assumption that, being sustainable is more costly, it's more expensive. But I love your feedback, which is, you can be creative, do cool stuff, and maybe same price, and best case, even cheaper than polluting the planet.
Yeah, I think it's more about letting go of old habits where you want to have everything new and shiny,
Yeah,
and that it doesn't make your project more beautiful. It's just more shiny.
100%. And did you find, and maybe did you find clients of yours? Because so your end clients are more like interior designer,
Interior
architect.
designers or they're the company they belong to. It can be a retail company that needs to show that they really put efforts in eco-designing their stores, for example, or hospitality sector as well, like hotel restaurants. All these people are our customer today, and we are even going towards a new vertical, which is um, oh, all the IT, UX, web design, all these professions related to the digital world, I would say, and it's the same idea. Before you start your project, you know what the impact can be, so that you make the right decisions from the beginning.
Yeah. No, I love that. But my question is, for example, for all those architects and all those interior designer,
Mm-hmm.
are they leveraging your carbon saver to, maybe price their service, higher, or because they are creating more value for the end user?
Yeah, this is why we created the certification, like the EcoVadis label or B Corp certification, so that you prove that you did that effort. So the Carbon Saver Cap certification is a way for their end customer to prove and also to show off. Let's be
Yeah.
honest, and this is what enables them to add value and to price that special effort they do to make the project more sustainable and the extra time they spend to find new ideas.
And it's
Yes,
it's a it's a competitive advantage.
it's
So,
a competitive advantage for the end customer. It's an element to differentiate from their competition until now. So yes, for the end customer it has value, so they're willing to pay for this.
yeah, awesome. And can you deep dive a little bit better? So we talked about, the architect and like the wave one of carbon saver, but
Yes.
I want to learn more about the wave two around digital.
Yeah, the wave two is in partnership with Human Skills, actually, which is a consulting firm specialized in the digital area with data people or web design and everything. And they just want to be eco design ready, like all of them all at once, with a solution like ours, because you just have that and you're able to eco design whatever you deliver to your customer. So it's a huge impact because there are more than 500 spread over tens or hundreds of clients. So that's a very positive impact. And what is interesting is that it's a profession that is willing to do better, but
Mm,
just like the architects, they are not equipped. They are equipped to measure, to do the accounting, but afterwards,
yeah.
downstream. It's good to do it. We just start earlier in the design phase of the project, and we guide them until the carbon footprint calculation. Actually, this is our objective now. So we take the user from the eco design phase until the carbon footprint calculation in a very sincere way. Why? Because we help them indicate what they really used, what they selected, what device they have, what hosting they do, and then they really populate the project with actual and accurate information so that we can calculate a carbon footprint that is as close as we can to reality.
I love that. And it's very funny because in the digital and the cloud world, we have architect. We spend a lot of time creating architecture, what tools we will use, what
Hmm.
solutions.
Yeah,
But you're right, we need to change our mindset because right now we are thinking about purely how it will work, but we don't think about what will be the impact on the planet.
yeah, true. And also, it's also about wondering if what you're doing is absolutely necessary or not. Do you need to request information every second if your
Yes.
customer consulted just once or twice a year? Uh, these small choices make a difference too.
Awesome. And actually, if we did a podcast episode actually about green ups and FinOps,
Hmm.
and I think it's really in the same kind of like idea in the same path. So it's
Yeah, it totally goes in parallel. These two curves, actually, which is not that usual in impact, and yeah, FinOps and sustainability really go close together.
and again it's a good message because right with Carbon Saver we can show that it could be architecture and interior designer, it could be digital footprint, being
Yes.
sustainable equal saving cost or at
Yes.
least being at the same price. So
Yeah.
we need to stop saying, yeah, being sustainable is more expensive, so we
We
won't do
can
it.
afford to save the planet,
Exactly.
basically.
No, exactly. And I mean, and it could be kind of like a cost driven move to
Yeah,
say,
it is. We're really reaching a point where no, you can look at it at on every side you want. It is a positive move.
hmm. And can you explain maybe, so one human skills, why did you move from, kind of being your own boss to joining a bigger movement like human skills?
Um, we just behave like bees, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if you do this, it will help me. If you do that, it will help me too. Let's just do it together. And we're addressing a topic that is just bigger than us. And we just need to also keep joining forces and keep finding ways that are smart to help each other just address this issue. Uh, Collaborating with us all of a sudden 60 100 people at human skills can do eco design. This is huge, and for us of course it's 600 customers. We're talking about actual figures too. So yeah, it's just how it happened. I mean, it relates to what I was telling about sincerity. If you're really trying hard and very sincerely to do things, it just happens because
Yeah, no, makes
there's
makes
no
total
reason to
sense.
do it differently. And that's what I love about them, that they are so easygoing and supportive. This is also ESG, but this is ESG behavior, not just
Yeah.
reporting, and I love that.
And and at Pricing for the Planet, we like to use a concept of like 19th century concept. So we got trained and kind of like we grew up with this concept of competition. But when you go in nature, there is no such competition. There is ecosystem. And
Symbiosis.
we, yeah, absolutely. And we need to behave the same way than the animals and the rest of the nature by
Yeah,
helping each other and not seeing the other one as a competitor and
yeah.
a threat.
It doesn't make sense anymore. And when I have someone in my domain, I just feel like, okay, cool, we'll be more to address this issue. And if I'm not the one who is the most useful to do it, I would just find something else to do, and we're fine.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. I totally agree with that.
So big question, Nura. So how the audience can help you out?
How what? Sorry.
How the audience can help you out? What can
Oh,
they do? Can they use your platform? Can they promote you? Where should they go? Should they follow you on
okay.
LinkedIn?
Okay, there are many ways that they can support us. Of course, they can use our solution, which is the best way they can help us. They can try it for free as well. I don't say it too loud, but they can make two projects for free. One to fail, one to actually do it
Yeah,
properly. But they cannot modify it, then they have to pay. And then they can support us on our We Do Good campaign on
okay.
wedogood.co. They can invest in carbon saver and actually get some incentive on our revenue. And also they can participate to the fundraising we're launching right now. So these are the different ways they can help us. But honestly, the best thing they could do is to use our solution.
And where they can go? Is it carbonsaver.com?
On carbonsaver.com, they can access all of this. Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Sounds great. And Nura, what are the next steps for Carbon Saver? Because you have a big
Yeah,
ambition around digital. What's next?
fashion.
Ah,
Fashion, because it's the
interesting.
same thing. You have designers and impact in the real world. So that's the next move. Yeah.
Interesting.
The
Uh,
idea is really to always go on the most polluting industries or those who concern the biggest amount of people. So yeah, fashion is the next one.
super interesting. And as an entrepreneur, so what was your biggest challenge? What was hard? What was easier than anticipating?
I think the hardest thing was to keep the focus on what's really important. Because what we're creating right now is a SaaS suite of solutions. So it's always difficult as an entrepreneur to make sure that you're not doing more than what you should and that it does not put your company at risk
Yeah,
doing too many things. And at the same time, it feels that what we're doing is the right thing to do. And
yeah.
the other challenge I faced, of course, is money. Because each time I tell that figures, apart from people from my domain, people don't believe it when I say that only 2% of the VC investments go to female founded companies. Okay,
Oh, wow.
2%. So it's hard. It's just super hard. So that's why female entrepreneurs like I, have to find ways to keep bootstrapping. And when we reach a certain level, then we perform usually better than the average because we had to fight so much. But yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges I had to face as well.
Super interesting. And if in the audience you have a bunch of like entrepreneurs or willing to be entrepreneur, do you see in your professional career some areas, untapped areas, or like growing topics to address that you don't have time or you choose not to put the focus on?
Um, I would say that education will never be enough. Uh, because the more people will be educated and competent in sustainability, whether it's social or environmental, the better it will be for everyone. So I think
Mm,
that's education, educating professional, educating kids, educating everyone who can participate to this. I think that's one of the domains where we'll never have enough.
interesting. And I think, is there an educational platform or is it a project at Human Skills? I think
Yeah, there
that
is.
is, yeah.
Actually, that's what we already do.
Okay.
We train the teams actually, and I'm going on tour with,
Oh,
in
wow.
September, visiting all the human skills consultants at our clients to train them on eco design and also train our clients. Everybody's welcome to join these educational moments, and then we hope that. we will educate something like 3,000 people that year. So
Wow.
that's really nice. And also, we provide educational offers as human skills. And also, Carbon Saver is partnering with an organization that trains 100,000 craftsmen every year from the age of 15 until continuing education. They train these people for various crafts work like wood, electricity, everything. And we are creating an educational version of Carbon Saver with them so that a teacher could tell a student, okay, you go through the journey of Carbon Saver, but you will be blinded. You won't see your scoring. But at the end of the journey, you'll see the scoring and see if you have really integrated all the notions that we taught
Mm.
you so that you are even able
Um,
to make the right decision without Carbon Saver, actually. So that's one of the projects we have.
I think I love this idea because it's nice. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love the product to, play
Yeah,
around and get like a number or like a score. But it's very true if we train people to get the right mindset. I mean, the ultimate goal is to not having the need of carbon saver. We are far from it,
that's
but
what we're working
yeah,
on
that's
actually, because our users, each time they use it, they gain knowledge because we explain you why your scoring was good or bad for each item you had, and we tell you what the alternative is. So because it's always in the context of the project you're working on, you really gain that knowledge. You don't forget about it. It's not an exhaustive list of advice. It's specific to what you're doing right now. And yeah, the aim is that you don't need that anymore to make your decisions upstream, but you will still have to measure downstream and make sure that the math's out there.
super cool. Awesome. No, it's fascinating. And maybe last question. You can travel in space. You are back 5 or 10 years ago. What
Okay,
would you do differently? What what will you do again for sure?
I would launch Carbon Saver again for sure. I would go to human skills earlier.
Okay.
And I think I would try to bring people on board earlier as much as I
Okay.
can.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
big message is like, like follow your dream, get a right ecosystem, get partners,
Yeah,
get on board people
definitely.
as early as possible. Okay, super interesting.
Yeah. Be surrounded as much as you can.
Yeah. And then no regret. I think that's a big message that you are
Definitely
sending.
not. Definitely not. It's such a virtuous circle because you don't have issues attracting talents. You have to
Yeah.
break them actually and say, okay, take it easy. You're not in good shape today, so just rest. The planet will wait. It's
Yeah.
more. This is more my issue as a manager to make sure that my team is not overdoing it. But
Interesting.
we have incredible talents at Carbon Saver, and because we really have a purpose, and it's a very creative project where all talents can really flourish, whether you're very technical, environmental, communication wise. It's That's what I love about sustainable projects. Usually, uh, it creates a virtuous circle with a lot of people supporting the project. So it cheers you up.
Perfect. Well, if after that we don't have a bunch of new startups, I don't know what we have to do.
I would tell them just do it.
Yeah. Nura, a huge thank you. It was
Thank
very
you, Fabien.
interesting, very helpful. Again, for the audience, so if you want to go check Carbon Saver, you can go on carbonsaver.com. You can follow Nura on LinkedIn, I guess. I will put the link below. And if you want to continue, the learning path around monetizing sustainability, you know the drill, www.pricingfortheplanet.com. And a huge thank you for your time today and your willingness to explore this transformation towards sustainability.
Thank you so much, Fabien. I really had a great time. Thank you very much.